My name is Megan Acree, and this is my small group communication case study. The case. The purpose of the following case study is to evaluate the problem at hand, which is that a member of the church has caused many of their close friends pain due to lying and manipulation. The offender we are focusing on has directly and indirectly hurt many people that are involved in the church college group. This person has violated some implicit norms of the college group, such as being open and honest with each other and not taking advantage of someone's willingness to give. These norms also fall under the category of general ethic obligations as a member of any system or group. As a result of the behavior of this person, many of their friends have come forward wanting to confront their friend, but in a way that they don't run out and feel attacked. Forming a group. In the text In Mixed Company, author Jaden Rothwell describes a group as a human communication system composed of 3 or more individuals interacting for the achievement of some common goal who influence and are influenced by each other. The group should contain those personally affected, but also some impartial third parties in order to avoid any kind of bias. In terms of this situation, the group should also be composed of members of the church who are close to the offender, but also some members of church leadership who have the education and distance from the situation in order to advocate for the offender when they are not present. Boundaries. Due to the nature of the situation, the group will have to maintain a strict boundary control. The purpose of these boundaries is to regulate input and consequent exposure to change in a system. Boundary control is important for many reasons, mainly so that the issue stays between those involved and does not get out to the rest of the church. This is an isolated problem and does not need many other people coming in with their own input, possibly causing more problems than we started with. In order to maintain solidarity and preserve friendships, this issue should not be discussed with anyone other than those in the group. Desired solution. When the confrontation with the offender happens, there are many ways the conversation can go. It is important that the person who contacts them to set up the meeting is gentle and tells them that the group would like to sit and talk about things and see how everyone can move forward. It is very likely when the conversation starts that the offender will display defensiveness, which is a reaction to a perceived attack on our self-concept and self-esteem. To lessen this, the group needs to use specific communication patterns, such as I statements versus you statements. This will also diminish the chance of a counterattack from the offender. When claims of the offender's actions are made, it is also very likely that they will try to use self-justification to provide excuses for their actions. To shift the conversation from one of blame, the members of the group should also admit their own responsibility in the situation and apologize to the person for ways they've been at fault. The concept of being control versus problem-oriented is an important one to be aware of in this situation because we do not want to try and control the offender and their behavior, but rather focus on solving the problem at hand that was created by them. During the meeting, the leadership present should follow the Hersey and Blanchard leadership style of participating. This means the leader encourages shared decision-making with special emphasis on developing relationships in the group. This leadership style is non-directive and places the focus on cooperation to come to decisions as a group. Coming to a decision on how to move forward is something that needs to be agreed upon not only by the original group, but also now including the offender. It is important that everyone in the situation feels heard and that their feelings are valid. Alternative solutions. Those affected might want to form a group and immediately confront the person who hurt them, but this is not helpful for maintaining relationships. Another solution the group might want to follow is coming together to talk about the person and how they've been hurt, but never going and sitting down with them to talk about the situation. This would not be effective because the issues would never be resolved and the offender would not be confronted about their actions. Yet another solution that would not be successful would be having the meeting in a public place so there are witnesses, which is not a good idea because it can cause a lot of defensiveness on the part of the offender, who will likely feel they're on display. Biblical framework. Matthew 18:15-16 says, If your brother sins against you, go and tell him his fault, between you and him alone. If he listens to you, you have gained your brother. But if he does not listen, take 1 or 2 others along with you, that every charge may be established by the evidence of 2 or 3 witnesses. This verse is the best example of how we are to deal with conflict among brothers. The Bible does not say take it in front of the town, but rather handle issues quietly and only bring others in if you cannot settle things yourself. Ephesians 4:15 tells us to speak the truth in love, reminding us that everything we do should be based on love. Before confronting the offender, the group in this scenario should pray to have God soften their hearts towards their friend, and also pray that God will open their friend's heart to hear what they have to say. Conclusion. As Christians, we are called to live in community, which in theory sounds great, but in practice it can be difficult to carry out. Not only does the Bible provide us with a framework to base our decisions off of, but also the discipline of communications has formulated models for how to best work and live in community. Groups, when led correctly, can be very effective in decision-making and can achieve common goals. This case study shows how important it is to carefully outline the contents of a group, as well as making sure the decisions that are made by the group are beneficial to the growth of the group members and the offender they are confronting. Ultimately, everything must be done out of love and with the intention of fostering honest and healthy relationships among group members and the friend that has hurt them.